John, a young software engineer, was enjoying a quiet evening at home when his phone rang. Glancing at the screen, he noticed an unfamiliar number. Intrigued, he answered the call, unaware of the sinister turn his life was about to take. A chilling voice on the other end of the line spoke with a menacing tone. "You have 24 hours to live," the voice whispered, sending a shiver down John's spine. He dismissed it as a prank call, but an uneasy feeling lingered. As the hours ticked away, John's anxiety grew. He began receiving cryptic messages and disturbing photographs of himself from an unknown sender. Paranoia consumed him, and he couldn't shake the feeling of being constantly watched. Determined to uncover the truth, John reached out to his friend, Detective Sarah, for help. Together, they delved into his past, searching for any clues that could explain the menacing calls and messages. They discovered a dark secret from John's childhood that he had long suppressed, a mysterious incident that could be linked to his current predicament. As the deadline approached, the threats escalated. John became the target of a series of near-fatal accidents, narrowly escaping each one. The line between reality and nightmare blurred, and he questioned his own sanity. With Detective Sarah's guidance, they traced the origin of the phone calls and discovered an underground organization known as the Final Hour. This secret society thrived on orchestrating elaborate psychological games, targeting individuals for their amusement. Armed with this knowledge, John and Sarah devised a plan to turn the tables on the organization. They set a trap, luring the mysterious caller into a final confrontation. As the clock ticked down to his supposed demise, John confronted the leader of the Final Hour. In a heart-stopping showdown, truths were revealed and the sinister plot unraveled. John discovered that he had unwittingly stumbled upon a dark underworld, where individuals' lives were toyed with for the perverse pleasure of others. With the leader of the Final Hour apprehended, John's torment finally came to an end. He could finally breathe a sigh of relief, knowing that justice had been served. The experience left him forever changed, reminding him to cherish every moment of his life and remain vigilant against the forces that seek to manipulate and destroy. James, an avid collector of vintage items, stumbled upon an old cassette tape at a flea market. Intrigued by its worn appearance, he decided to purchase it and give it a listen. Little did he know that this innocent act would plunge him into a world of mystery and peril. As James played the cassette, he expected to hear music or a radio broadcast from a bygone era. Instead, he was met with an eerie silence that lasted for several minutes. Just as he was about to give up, a faint voice emerged, delivering a cryptic message in a distorted tone. The message hinted at hidden secrets and a buried treasure that promised unimaginable wealth. James couldn't resist the lure of the unknown and set out on a quest to uncover the truth behind the mysterious recording. Driven by curiosity, James meticulously researched the history of the cassette and its origins. He discovered that it was connected to a notorious criminal who had vanished without a trace, leaving behind a trail of unsolved crimes and hidden fortunes. As James followed the breadcrumbs left by the recording, he encountered a web of danger and deception. He found himself pursued by shadowy figures, each with their own vested interest in the cassette tape and the secrets it held. The quest took James to remote locations, where he unraveled cryptic clues that led him deeper into a world of intrigue. He encountered a secret society dedicated to protecting the secrets of the cassette tape at any cost. James realized he had become a pawn in a dangerous game of cat and mouse. With each step, the stakes grew higher. James faced treacherous traps, narrow escapes, and unexpected betrayals. He found solace in a trusted ally, Emma, who shared his determination to unravel the mysteries and survive the perilous journey. Together, they deciphered the final clue, leading them to a long-forgotten hideout where the truth lay concealed. They discovered a hidden chamber, filled with ancient artifacts and documents that exposed the criminals' true identity and the extent of their crimes. However, their triumph came at a price. James and Emma found themselves surrounded by the members of the secret society, who were determined to protect their secrets at all costs. In a tense confrontation, they managed to outsmart their adversaries, narrowly escaping with their lives. The story of the forgotten recording became an urban legend, a cautionary tale of the dangers hidden within seemingly innocuous objects. James and Emma chose to keep the truth hidden, knowing that some secrets are best left undisturbed. John, a curious and adventurous man, stumbled upon an abandoned building during one of his urban explorations. Intrigued by its mysterious aura, he decided to venture inside. Little did he know that this impulsive decision would lead to a nightmarish experience he would never forget. As John entered the dilapidated building, he felt a sudden rush of cold air and an eerie silence that enveloped the surroundings. Without warning, the heavy door slammed shut behind him, trapping him in darkness. Panic welled up inside him as he desperately searched for an exit, but the room seemed devoid of any means of escape. In the pitch-black room, John's senses heightened. He could hear the faint sound of his own heartbeat echoing through the silence. Suddenly, an unexplainable presence made itself known. An invisible force seemed to stalk him, the hairs on the back of his neck standing on end. Unable to see his pursuer, John's imagination ran wild. Every creaking floorboard, every rustling of unseen movement sent chills down his spine. He felt a presence breathing down his neck, whispering in his ear, and he knew he was not alone. As the hours stretched on, John's fear turned into a desperate survival instinct. He began to navigate the room with cautious steps, relying on his memory and touch to feel his way around. But the invisible threat seemed to anticipate his movements, toying with him and keeping him off balance. In his fight for survival, John discovered makeshift weapons within the room: a broken chair leg and a shard of glass. Armed with these crude tools, he defended himself against the unseen assailant. He swung blindly, hoping to strike a blow against the darkness that surrounded him. Exhaustion and despair threatened to consume John as the night wore on. But in a moment of clarity, he realized that the invisible threat thrived on his fear. Determined to defy it, he summoned his courage and embraced the darkness, refusing to let it overpower him. With a newfound resolve, John's senses heightened. He began to notice subtle shifts in the air, the faintest whispers of movement. He relied on his instincts, trusting his intuition to guide him towards an opening that had eluded him. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, a sliver of light pierced through the darkness. John stumbled upon the hidden door, concealed within the shadows. He pushed it open, feeling a rush of relief as the room flooded with light, banishing the invisible threat that had haunted him. You know, it was one of those nights that seemed to have an eerie energy lingering in the air. As the clock ticked closer to midnight, I found myself walking home from my late shift at the supermarket. The street was desolate, bathed in the dim glow of streetlights that flickered ominously. As I walked, the distant sound of my footsteps echoed through the empty street, heightening my senses. It was as if the darkness itself was watching me, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal its secrets. I quickened my pace, my heart pounding with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of a figure lurking in the shadows. A shiver ran down my spine as I turned to get a better look, but the figure seemed to vanish into thin air. I told myself it was just my imagination playing tricks on me, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was not right. Determined to dismiss my unease, I continued walking, trying to focus on the sound of my own footsteps to drown out the growing sense of dread. where the darkness seemed to close in around me as if it had a life of its own. Suddenly, a chilling breeze swept through the street, causing the nearby trees to rustle and creak in an otherworldly chorus. I glanced over my shoulder, and there it was, a figure standing a few feet away, partially hidden in the shadows. I couldn't make out any distinguishing features, but the presence exuded an aura of mystery and unease. Frozen in fear, I watched as the figure slowly stepped forward, revealing itself in the pale glow of a flickering streetlight. Its eyes gleamed with an unnatural intensity, piercing through the darkness, and a chill ran down my spine. Without a word, the figure started to approach, its movements graceful yet unsettling. I could feel my heart racing, my breath catching in my throat. Every instinct told me to run, to flee from this unknown entity that seemed to defy explanation. Summoning every ounce of courage I had, I took a step back, ready to make a hasty escape. But just as quickly as it had appeared, the figure vanished into the night, leaving me standing there in a state of shock and confusion. As I made my way home, the encounter replayed in my mind. Who or what was that mysterious figure? Was it a trick of the night, a figment of my imagination, or had I truly come face to face with something otherworldly? To this day, I can't shake the feeling that I glimpsed a hidden realm, a world that exists under the cover of night, a world that chooses when and how to reveal itself to unsuspecting souls.